यदि आप लॉ पढ़ना चाहते हैं तो कहीं और क्यों जाना, हमारे ऐप को डाउनलोड करें और लॉ पढ़ें। Namaskar. Today we are here with some few very important subjects, like in the case of contingency, in the case of disaster, how the governments are managing ourselves, and what is the circumstances and what are the laws of these governments to tackle the situation. For that, we having the provisions in the Constitution under Article 266 and 267 of the Indian Constitution. Under Article 266, there must be a consolidated fund, and in that consolidated fund, the government will not having right to withdraw or do not having the right to withdraw the money directly. If they want to withdraw the money from the consolidated fund, then they have to go to the parliament. In parliament, they have to present their budget. After voting in the budget and passing your budget bill from the Lok Sabha, you shall be entitled to get the money from there. But for that also, you must have to present a bill of appropriation in the parliament. And when the bill of appropriation is sanctioned by the parliament, then you will be entitled to get the money from the consolidated fund. But the central government do not having a direct power to get the money from the consolidated fund. Similarly, but there is some exemptions. Those some bodies are here, the autonomous type of body or some independent body covered in the Constitution of India, like the President of India, like the Governor, like the judges of the Supreme Court and High Court, and other institutions. Those are the independent institutions like Election Commission, Finance Commission, and so on. They are not dependable on the government. So even the government, after passing the law from the parliament also, they cannot restrict the salaries of these people, but they will get the money directly from the consolidated fund without approval of the parliament. But if the parliament want to enhance something, or if the parliament want to restrict something, then they have some teeth that they can pass some laws covered in the Constitution of India, that in some disastrous situation, in some contingent situations, the salaries of these people may be cut down. So these are the provisions. But in general, at the time of, in general, the central government or the state government do not having the power to withdraw the money directly. Same type of funds has to be have to be made by the state governments, and state government also having the right to get the money from the consolidated fund. But again, they have to pass the law, they have to pass the budget from the state assembly, and they have to pass the bill of appropriation from the state assembly, then they can withdraw it. Another provision in case of the disastrous situations is given in Article 267. Article 267, Clause 1 is for the central government, Clause 2 is for the state government. What about the contingency situations? So, in the contingency situations, in 1950, we have passed a law that was the Consolidated Fund of India Act 1950. Got the power from Article 267, no doubt. And in the same manner, the state government also established their contingency funds. So, up to 2004, when the situation of tsunami was not faced by our country, the capacity of the fund was 50 crore rupees. Central contingency fund was of 50 crore rupees, but in 2004, they enhanced that fund from 50 crore to 500 crore. But we can't get the benefit at that time, because at that time there was the fund of only 50 crore rupees, and later on you will you enhance the capacity of the fund and you raise the fund for the contingency fund. But that was not helpful in the at the time of tsunami. But later on it may be helpful. So till now, I think the capacity of the fund is 500 crore. So in this 500 crore capacity, I don't think that at the time of COVID-19 we are able to fight with the situation by 500 crores. Simultaneously, in 2004, they passed a new law, that was the Disaster Management Act. It's known as the Disaster Management Act 2005. And in that Disaster Management Act also, there is they established a team of disaster management for the country. Popularly we known as NDRF, etc. Now, Under section 46 and under section 48 of this act means Disaster Management Act, there must be funding for the central government, there must be contingency type fund for the central government, there must be a contingency type fund of the state government, and for the state at the time of disaster, the central government will contribute for the 75% of that disaster, and the state government has to contribute only for 25% of at the time of disaster. And even that is a scenario that the central government and state governments will contribute at the time of disaster, but state government have their own funds and they can expend more than that. So we having three provisions, but unfortunately from last few years, from last few decades, the scenario came in India that if you want to win the election, then you have to give some free. To attract the voter, to get the vote, you have to purchase the vote constitutionally. Means the parties adopted the way that if you want to get the vote, then constitutionally, legally offer them and bribes them and got the vote. The Delhi government is very illustrative example for that. And unfortunately, lot of state parties or lot of political parties adopted the Delhi formula. So at the time of election, someone says that we will give you the laptop, someone says that we will give you the bike, someone said we will give you the bike with the petrol, someone said that we will give you the sarees, someone said, and lot of promises did by the political parties. No doubt all political parties will not win to make the government. Some political parties found votes and they was able to convince to the people that we truly saying that we will give you the free. And everything, like at the time of 2015 election of Delhi, whatever the political party said that we will give you, someone said that we want to get the washing machine, they said we will provide you. Someone said that we need some iPhone, they said, I will provide you. Someone said that there must be an there must be an data, there must be an IT hubs. Then I will provide you, because they did not had to lose anything. They promised we will give you the free. Fortunately, they got the government, and after getting the government, they started to invest the money without any cost to secure the voters that I have fulfilled my promise and I am giving you the free. Even I am giving you the free from getting the dates from the another institutions and from the taxation money by the countrymen. And lot of government adopted, and very proudly the Delhi government said that after my formula, or after getting the after making the government by the formula, lot of political parties had adopted my formula and they are the borrower of my formula. Now the question is this: if the states having some funds, no doubt, so how much they can invest to distribute in free? How much they can purchase the voter, or whether they can purchase the voter legally from the constitutional provisions, or if they are doing a promise, then they will distribute some money from the party fund. So no one will invest the money in the party fund, from the party fund. They all will distribute the money from the central, from the funds. Those are collected, or persons deposited the money or paid the tax for their own risk. Whenever the disaster will come, the state government will help me. Whenever the industry will go down, the industry will be slowed down, or there would be some dangerous situation, then the state government will come forward to help us. But state government will help only in the circumstance when they will have the money, because they have invested the money. Whatever was in the consolidated fund, whatever was in the contingency fund, whatever was in the disaster management fund, whatever was the like Delhi water management fund, and even they borrowed the money from the EPF Employees Provident Fund also, they borrowed the money from the pensions of service sector, and wherever the person deposited the money from in the post office, in the financial bank, and they borrowed the money and distributed with the promise that constitutionally we will give you such and such thing if you will vote to me and if you will make my government. Even some states, like if we will take an illustration of the Maharashtra government and of the Uttar Pradesh government. UP government having only 3 or 4 hubs from where they collected the taxes, and on the basis of these taxation, these collection, they manage the full state, like Noida, Ghaziabad, Greater Noida, Kanpur, Lucknow, somewhat Gorakhpur or Bareilly. These are the places where some industries are grown out and the people paid the tax there. From these 3 or 4 districts, they manage to manage full state of 70 districts. You know, from these 4 districts, they manage the 70 districts. In Maharashtra, Mumbai, Thane, some Nagpur, Nasik or Pune, these are some places from where they collected the taxes, and on the basis of these collection, they manage full state. But what about Delhi? Delhi do not having to manage anything. Delhi is a total urban area. Few maybe some rural area, total is the urban area. And even in Delhi, there is a lot of corporate office of the industries. Like the person having the company having the industry in the Maharashtra, but they having the corporate office in Delhi. They having the industry in Ghaziabad, but they having the corporate office in Delhi. They having an industry in Gurgaon and near about places, but having the industry in Delhi. They are working. They having the production units in sometimes in Panipat, Sonipat, Bagpat, Meerut, etc. But they having the office in Delhi. Even sometimes some industries, some particular industries are working in Tamil Nadu and Kerala, but they having the corporate office in Delhi. And because they having the corporate office in Delhi, that is why they are paying the return for the trade to the Delhi government. In return of the trade in Delhi, they having a business of lot of acre land in some states, but only one corporate office of one single room or a flat or 40 square yards or 50 square yard, 100 square yard, they having the office in Delhi. And that is why they are paying the taxes in Delhi, and Delhi is getting the contribution from these. But Delhi do not having the manage to anything else, else place, because Delhi is total urbanized area. So Delhi government are getting 100 times, I think, if I'm not wrong, 100 times more collection than the other states, because they are dragging some money from the other states from the other states taxation, and now they are distribution to form the government. We will give you the free, and due to these demand of free, they got the government. And right now, after passing of this time, they are increasing the taxes, they hike the price of the petrol, they hike the price of the diesel, and they hike the price of lot of things in Delhi to get the money. Because at this situation, no one is paying the tax, because no industry is in running situation. Each and everyone is in their house arrest or in house quarantine. Who will earn? Who will pay? So, because all the industrial scenarios are in surveillance, and because they are in this situation, that is why no one can pay the tax. So, in this situation, the contingency fund, disaster management fund, other funds can help the states, but unfortunately, states government do not having the funds at present. Why? Because they already borrowed, they already purchased the votes by paying constitutionally these funds. So, can we make the law like we passed the law by the Vajpayee government in case of limitation of Council of Ministers? Before passing of that law by the Vajpayee government, lot of ministers, even sometimes some states make 50% of their representative as a minister. Vajpayee government passed a law that ministry cannot be exceed 10% of the total seats of parliament or 15% seats of Lok Sabha. The same law made for the states. So right now, state cannot make a big council of minister. They are restricted in a span. So can we make the law that the money paid by the taxpayers to the governments cannot be expended in this way? Or after making a government at least for 2 years, the new government cannot distribute the money. If they want to distribute, then they have to distribute from the earning whatever they did from their own time. And if they want to distribute even after 2 years of their government, then they have to show to the state, they have to show to the country or to their own state that we having this we having this amount as a surplus, whatever earned in the last 2 years, and that surplus amount we are going to distribute. And in this distribution, no state government can pronounce anything like this from 1.5 years or from 2 years just before the election. So we can restrict these governments, and we can restrict the government that you cannot spend the contingency fund, you cannot spend the pensioners fund, you cannot spend the provident fund, you cannot spend the reserve money whatever the state government have. But whatever you want to distribute for your government or for the goodness of the people of the state, then you must have some earning. And for that earning, if you want to increase your earning, no doubt the state government will do the efforts to improve the industries. Today's scenario is this: whoever want to rise in politics started to quarrel the industrial person. Like, this industry is having such money, this industry having such money, we having a difference between the rich and poor people. So who will manage this difference? This is the state, but not from the fund of taxpayers. But the state having a lot of opportunity, they can earn the money, and from that earning they can distribute the money. And if in case of any disaster to any person, what should be the rules and regulations to exempt the pupil or to distribute to the pupils? So we must have to do the work on this whole scenario if we want to grow India, if we want to get India as a Vishwaguru, if we want to get India as a billionaire, $5 billion or more economy, then we have to think by this way. And we have to make the pressure on the government that you cannot spend the money of the taxpayers. And if you want, then such and such laws are there. I think I have tried to complete this situation, but in future, tomorrow we will come with the next subject of today's scenario with legal validity. Thank you very much.